A new report by the Senate is escalating the ongoing investigation into accusations of both sexual abuse and harassment within the U.S. Coast Guard.
Let's get right out to Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Marcy Jones, live in New London this morning with the latest. Good morning.
Good morning, Tracy and Caitlin. Well, within its 48-page report, the U.S. Senate calls sexual abuse and sexual harassment, quote, a pervasive issue within the U.S. Coast Guard. It also features testimony from 80 whistleblowers containing disturbing details. This obviously is also escalating the already intense investigation opened last year. First-hand accounts detail story after story of systemic sexual assault and harassment. The report by the U.S. Senate paints a picture of retaliation, lack of accountability, and a culture of silence. Perhaps one of the most disturbing details is that the alleged abuse has been taking place since the 1970s. The report released yesterday is just one of many ongoing government inquiries into the U.S. Coast Guard, leading many lawmakers to call for a change in leadership. The U.S. Coast Guard released a response in part saying, quote, the profound trauma and suffering victims and survivors of sexual assault and sexual harassment have endured is heartbreaking, and we are inspired by their courage to share their stories. The U.S. Coast Guard acknowledges that this is not only a problem of the past and that we are actively implementing the Commandment's 33 directed actions announced in November of 2023 to strengthen our service culture, improve support and care of victims, and hold perpetrators accountable. Back out here live, Senator Richard Blumenthal is one of those lawmakers calling for a change in leadership. He's actually going to be holding a hearing here at Connecticut College coming up at 11 this morning, and it will feature 2 testimonies from whistleblowers. Reporting live in New London, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.